Hello, welcome to another grief share video. Today I'm gonna go over I guess some of the things that I went through this week. Um, I've really been struggling a lot with feeling like the conflicts that me and my husband have are just really really difficult to go through. And when I say that, um, I'm not really struggling with like the conflicts themselves. Um, it's really how long they've been going on. And I think I've said that before. Like the things that usually end up bothering me, I don't really have a problem with going through a certain amount of difficulties. You know, I've had headaches for a long time. I've had depression and things like that. But it really is the length of time that really wears you down. It makes you just want to um, give up a lot of times, and because you just didn't expect it to be that way. I mean, and I'm not just talking about conflicts. There's a lot of things that way. I really thought that my headaches would be gone by this age. At Fallen God, I think you have certain expectations of healing. So I just didn't expect to deal with the problems that I have had. And I do want to say, I know I've talked about my husband some on previous videos, but um, we've been through a lot of things, but he's not an abusive person. He's not whatever negative it sounds like. Some of the things I've talked about. I've talked about some of the worst things we went through just because um, they were just difficult at the time. But we actually have a good relationship. There's a lot more good times than bad. So I don't want to paint the picture the wrong way. We both, you know, um, have, I guess, I said, a good relationship. We're loving toward each other most of the time. So it's not really an abusive or bad environment. I'm in some groups where I hear a lot of women talk about their husbands being abusive, and I mean, we have things that we go through with each other. I mean, sometimes we say harsh words towards each other, but I just don't want to paint the picture of like a situation that I'm like um being abused or he's being abused. I think it's well, regularly on some of the previous videos I have talked about, there were a couple situations we went through that might have been abusive, but I do feel like we're working on it. We've tried to get some help. But anyway, I'm not going to go too much into that. I want to make sure that I clear that up. So, um, anyway, I tend to think that a lot of marriages do have conflicts, arguments, problems. I know we all have probably different degrees of what happens in our marriage. I'm in some marriage groups, and I hear all kinds of things. The other day, I heard somebody say that they had a fight with their husband for 8 months straight, and I just couldn't imagine. Me and my husband, we try to get things settled, resolved within a few days, so we do get to a point of resolution. But anyway, I think I've mentioned this before too. When you go into marriage, you kind of have an expectation of what you think it's going to be like. You just think that you know. I mean, I never thought it was going to be perfect. I guess some people do think that, but I knew there were going to be problems. I just didn't know, first of all, how escalated they could get or how long they could go on. Um, but I don't want to make it sound all negative. There's been a lot of improvements between me and my husband. When we first got married, we had been through something so difficult that I think we had conflicts every day. It was constant. There was almost never a time where um, we didn't have one. And we were able to get through those. But like I said, there were a couple bad ones that got out of hand. But um, because we got past it, I think that that's just kind of what I consider normal for us. And sorry, I can't remember what I was saying. Um, well, oh, that's right. So the first few years were really difficult. I'd say about the first 3 years. And then it was kind of a turning point. I can't speak for him, but I know that I was able um, to release a lot of anger. And again, I've talked about this a little bit before too, but my backstory is being abused for many years by my mother, and not being able to get away from that. I had kind of created a mess for myself because I had agreed to a lot of things with her, and she was constantly crossing my boundaries. It was really out of balance, out of control. Um, so I was able to release some of the anger that I had from that, I guess. So after 3 years of marriage, I remember, just uh, the anger felt like it went one level down. But I still had a lot of work to do with my mother, trying to get the relationship, I guess, back to a place where she wouldn't cross my boundaries anymore. Um, but after what I went through with my mother, I just remember being so angry, just like furious all the time, when I first got married. So like I said, that got better, and I noticed about every 3 years it'll go down another level. And honestly, I've noticed the biggest change by cutting contact with my mother this year. I I mean, as far as like working towards, I guess, forgiving her and not dwelling so much on the past, I've definitely come a long way with that, by not talking to her. But it took a lot of years, and I've just now done that this year. So um, I kind of consider this my starting point sometimes for really getting healing for that relationship. But anyway, I think with the conflicts that me and my husband have, I'm tired of it. I've heard other people talk about how they've had conflicts for 20 years, and it's about once a week. So I'm feeling like it's not unusual, but I think we just get tired, and we want an escape, we want a solution, and I've tried all kinds of things. We've tried therapy. I've tried antidepressants. I've tried you know trying to fix my hormones with birth control and things like that. It's just we we're kind of like hitting a wall, of course. Um, and what I mean by that, sometimes like I've noticed when I'm going through the process of healing, I guess with God or whatever, I tend to get to a place where I feel like I just hit a wall and I don't know what else to do. I've done everything I think I can do, within reason. I mean, without having enough money to invest in certain things, you do whatever you can with what you have. So I could tell it feels like that sometimes, and it really starts to feel like, well, like I just have to keep doing the same thing over and over again, knowing that it's not going to make a difference. Because I can tell I need some kind of um, intervention. That sounds bad. I need some kind of outside help, and like like the tools that I use to get through a conflict or to get resolution, they just aren't working. Sometimes they're making things worse. So it's like I'm needing another tool, and only God can provide that, and He does tend to tell you what to do. I've um been given some advice from God that is kind of hard for me to deal with. I've talked about it a little bit, but you know, having a child, I think was something that God was advising. But you know, it's been a difficult road to try to get there. You know, still working towards it, of course, but it's I won't go into details too much about that because that's not really my focus. But um, you know, it's just trying to get through the hard times that have gone on longer than you expect. I think is one of the hardest things I have to go through with God, or being a Christian. I just I can't help. I guess as humans, we have expectations. I can't help but have these expectations of thinking that it's going to be different than it is. And who wants, you know, to have I guess strife with their spouse? I mean, nobody wants that. It affects a lot of things, and you know, you try to pick yourself up afterwards and get back to where you were, but it never feels quite like you get back to where you were. Um you just have to try to rebuild after every conflict, and it feels like when you go through something like that, it feels like it destroys all the good things that you've tried to build with the person. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about really, because if you had conflicts, I think you might understand. I think I've had conflicts with most people in my life, and I didn't really know how to handle them when I was younger. I feel like I at least have the maturity to understand what's happening now. As a child, my mother would just get angry at me and yell at me, and I guess I'd call that a conflict. But I really didn't know how to handle it. You know, it was confusing to me. You know, I didn't know what was going on. I didn't even understand what I was doing to make her so upset. So um, I at least understand that more now. Things make sense to me, but um, it's still not where I want it to be. You know, I mean, sometimes we have conflicts that go on for more than one day, and that just really bothers me. But you know, I just I feel like I just don't know how to handle it. I don't know how to make things right, and I don't know if you ever feel like this level of hurt that just kind of seems to trap you and not make you able to reach out and make things better. I go through that. I figure everybody does. You know, we hurt people, but we don't want to take the time to um, make it better, or take the time to resolve things because we think that they've hurt us and we deserve their apology. Um, and unfortunately, that's something I went through a lot growing up. I felt extremely wronged by my mother. I felt extremely like the victim every single time, just screaming at me and not trying to talk to me. And so I feel a lot of those things when me and my husband have conflicts. But but you know, I am as much a bully as I am the victim. So um, I see a lot of the damage I do now. I guess I guess I could say I did some when I was growing up, but I just never knew what it was. I'm at least able to see the damage that I'm causing now. I think because the relationship is different with my husband, but um, I want to make it clear that there's definitely like um, these conflicts that we have are definitely two people causing them, and I see that every time that it's just we both come in with these problems and they cause like an offense, and it just escalates too far. And I see that with a lot of couples. It's very, um, I want to say, even-sided. Things can switch from one to the other, I think, sometimes, depending on what it is. I'm not really talking about physical situations because that can be totally different. But um, a lot of times when I hear couples talk about what they're fighting about initially, I do see how it is two people coming in with like um, an issue on each end that kind of make it explode. But anyway, my point is, I'm just really struggling with dealing with the conflicts that we have, and trying to recover from it. And I think I've gotten better with not feeling so much. I don't know if you want to call it trauma. Like I remember when I would go through it in the past, it would just really affect me extremely deeply, and it would just be um, something very difficult to recover from. And now I could tell I deal with it a lot better, um, like with recovery and with trying to get back on track and not letting myself get stuck there anymore. I do better with that. But I think we all get tired. I just feel tired of it, and I want some kind of change. And my frustration is, I don't feel like it's a safe place to bring a child into, but on the other end, I feel like I'm being told to have a child. But again, I'm not going to try to go into that because I have a lot of frustration in that direction with God. I don't understand, but I just have a lot of thoughts when it comes to the conflicts, and I hope that they can get better. I mean, I know that they can. I just don't know what it's going to take to get there and how long it's going to take. I think that's the biggest one. Um, going through the first few years that I went through with my husband, and we were trying to um, hash out everything that we had gone through. It was very difficult. So, um, it's really all about building endurance, I guess. I mean, that's what I try to focus on. Patience and endurance, because like it can't just stop overnight. Things have to gradually get better. So anyway, going to try to wrap this up. If you have a grief share that you'd like to share, you can share that in the comments. Again, it's just a little story about yourself, what you're going through, if you're having some type of grief, that kind of thing. Um, Other than that, I thank you for watching and have a good day.